Welcome back to Whitt Acres. Today we're going to be taking a short tour around the gardens. We have quite the blistery windy day here today. It's a little bit chilly with the wind blowing, and the weather forecast is calling for a storm here in a few minutes. But I wanted to take a quick walk through the gardens here, show you what's blooming here for spring and how the gardens are looking before we actually get into the growing season. Last video we got some of the black mulch down around the pond area here and close to the patio. We have some daffodils, a bunch of different kinds around the property blooming, and some hyacinths of multiple colors. The blue jacket, or the purpley looking ones, are my favorite. The hyacinth is the best smelling flower. I got a little bit more mulch down here around the driveway, but I didn't want to keep going up there because I was really focused on getting the pond area done here around the waterfalls. I don't know how the audio is right now, but it is very windy. I'm trying to block the microphone the best I can. But you can see we have a bunch of lupin coming back here and some bachelor button growing. The creeping jenny's starting to yellow up, and we have some hyacinths poking through and some more little daffodils. These ones are little trumpets. Another lupin right on the corner there, and then we have some tulips coming up behind the waterfalls. But we got the pond bank all cleaned up here, so we have a nice contrast with the fresh mulch and the flowers coming up. I didn't get to the cold frame yet. I need to get the weeds ripped out of there and a lot of those vines that have been coming up in there pulled out. And then I'm probably going to get some fresh bag soil and get a nice top layer on there before I sow some seeds. This late in the season, I won't have to put the plastic lid on. I can just sow some colder season crops. And if we take a look down here at the pond, we can see the raindrops starting to hit the surface. Whoa! What was that, the bass? That was big. Is that the bass or a frog? Who's running with the oh, this is a bass. There he is. Hey, buddy. A little bit bigger than the koi. It's fun to see him moving quick. The water is a little bit low here. We could use some rain in the pond. I don't have the ducks out right now, except for a few that snuck out through the hole in the fence. Ladies. Jackie. Jackie and Gladys. I put a board up, but I think the board fell over, or they knocked it over so they could get out again. We have Mumbles and some ducks hanging on one side, and Dabbles and some ducks hanging on the other. Oh, fishies, you think I'm feeding you? Not yet. Hump pup. We also got some mulch on the ramp bed over here, and I'm almost ready to close up this ditch. I was doing some wiring, trying to get this wire spliced and a new wire spliced in so I could have a receptacle on the other side of the ramp where we put the hydrant. I got that wired up yesterday, and for some reason we don't have power, so I'm gonna have to do some troubleshooting here. Oh, and it looks like that rain's picking up. Hump pup. Oh, your ball's flat. But we have some more work to do on this ditch project. I want to put some fabric down, wrapping over to the greenhouse entrance here, and then covering it all up with stone. And that way I feel the greenhouse will be nicely connected all the way over to the pond area, and it'll make it all feel like one zone. And once I do that, I feel like the greenhouse will be better connected over to the pond area, and I won't be walking in mud. But I had my cabbage out here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. I just wanted it to get some wind on it, but I don't want to get beat up by the thunderstorm that's possibly coming through right now. So I'm gonna bring her in. Hold on. Coming in. All right. There we go. Bring everybody into safety. In this tray over here, we have a lot of the tomatoes coming up right now, and it looks like one could use some water. A few of the Brussels sprouts finally came up from the saved seed that I had, but unfortunately I don't see any of the ground cherries. We did pretty well with the germination of the cabbage, so hopefully everything can keep growing healthy. And the peppers I did have to re-sow. The California bell peppers were seeds that I bought, so they came up, but all my saved pepper seeds did not. So I had to buy seeds and then re-sow them. And we have a tomato seed coming up, but it looks like some of this stuff is dry. Throw some water on this real quick. There we go. So I'm still waiting on some germination on my pepper seeds here. Now I don't eat a lot of vegetables, so I'm not going to be growing a lot of vegetables this season. My meals mainly contain meat, eggs, dairy, and potatoes. My mom likes tomatoes, especially a tomato sandwich in the summer, so I am growing some tomatoes for that reason. The cabbage is actually for sauerkraut. I really just want to grow some cabbage so I can make that into sauerkraut like my grandpap used to do. Now I am getting into fermented foods, and I might bring you along for part of that process, but anything that happens in the kitchen is going to be posted on my Whitt Acres Homestead channel, so make sure to follow along to both channels so you can get everything coming out from Whitt Acres. And I also have an Instagram you can follow along there too, Whitt Acres Nature at Home. I just post some nice pictures from around the property. Now the bell peppers can also go into some meals. We don't do that too often, but that can be a nice additive, and I'd like to have my own peppers to use if we want to do that. Part of the fun of growing your own garden, during the growing season you can have an abundance, which gives you a lot of different options. And we're not getting any germination on the other peppers, so I will buy these already started if I can't get these seeds to grow. I am the type to typically just try it myself first. But you can also ferment veggies and peppers, and they can actually taste pretty good that way, so I want to have options available. So some things I'm growing to eat, some things I'm growing just to grow, some things I grow to look at, and other things I'm growing to learn about. Huh, pup, it's good to have some options. And our growing season here in Pennsylvania, Zone 6, is only about 4 or 5 months. So of course I am going to try and do a lot more than is physically possible in the time frame. And I made a mistake. I ended up potting my chocolate stripes tomatoes, and then I didn't bring them inside whenever we had a really cold night, and they didn't respond well. So every morning I've been bringing my trays out here to the greenhouse so they can get some sunlight and continue growing, so I don't have to have lights on inside the house. But then every night I take them back inside the house so they can have some warmth overnight and they don't freeze out here, since I don't have electric out here yet. Got to keep this closed though. It's getting windy, pup. We don't have time for ramp ball. Rain's coming, bud. But we also got some things started down here in the vegetable garden. And right here at the entryway, we have a ring of white hyacinths and the tulips in the middle. I'm thinking I'll probably get some black mulch down around here, but there's some work I need to do first. A couple more hyacinths coming up on the other side and some daffodils over by the doghouse. And we did get fresh wood chips on the pathways down here. I ran out of black mulch. I still want to get black inside the pollinator ring here to finish that up. But already you can see a lot of weeds coming up through the wood chips here. I don't have fabric down. I just keep layering wood chips here in the garden. That's because the gardens are always changing right now and it's easier not to have fabric in the way. But we got a few things planted in this bed right now. We have 2 different kinds of onions and you can see they're coming up. It's good to see some sprouts on those. We have the long curing onions here and then we have the candy onions on the other side. But I also have some beans and some lettuce greens coming up here on the edge of the bed, going across this side and the front. We have some peas there. You can see they're all coming up. Those are looking good. And those are cold hardy too, so this weather is perfect for them. They have that trellis, they can climb right up and keep getting bigger. And it looks like the crocus is finally done blooming. We had a beautiful purple bloom from the crocus here, but the daffodils are still going. We got the J bed filled up here, but I want to get some good soil to get a top dressing on this before we get the cabbage planted in here. And I have been working on the pumpkin patch over here trying to get it ready for planting. I went through and tilled over all the leaves I had on here for a winter cover. So we got that all smoothed out, and then we brought in 3 bucket loads of compost. I spread that as even as I could across the patch here, and then I went through with the tiller 2 more times, getting that all broken up. It's not too bad right now. There's a little bit more I want to do before we're planting, but we have about a month before I actually plant into the soil here. My plan right now is to germinate my giant pumpkin seed on the 18th of April, and then I'm going to be taking care of it inside until the weather looks good enough I can plant it out here in the patch. So there's still some more work I want to do out here. I want to get this fabric pulled out and the trellis pulled off of those pipes so we can expand the patch even further. And I should get this plastic on the rototiller here before it gets all rained on. Cover this up. Oh, I hear that thunder. I hear that thunder coming, pup. If it's like all the other storms, it's probably just gonna miss me north. Huh, bud? We do have some perennials coming up next to the empress tree here. A couple of hyacinths blooming. Pretty. Oh, she's rumbling. And I started getting compost on top of the squash mound here to amend it. We did end up poking 3 holes in the top of the squash mound to try and get more earth in here. I'm gonna put a whole bag of compost in there so we can plant a giant pumpkin in each one of these holes. And that'll give me 3 backup giant pumpkins I could just grow off the mound right into the yard here and give them as much space as they need. I really want a giant pumpkin this year, so I'm gonna be growing more than 1 plant. And this is the first year we're gonna have water on tap down here in the vegetable garden, so that's gonna make it so much easier to take care of all these plants. And the thunder rolls. Those ducks don't care about the rain. What are you doing? You birds. And we also plugged in some new spring perennials that probably won't be blooming this year, but they're gonna add some much needed color out here in the beginning of the season next year. We do have some spring color out here already. It just kind of died off coming across the peninsula here. So I added some tulips and some daffodils. So now the blooming season on the island garden will start a lot earlier over here. Hump Pup, it's starting to look cleaned up out here, but there's still a lot of work to do in the main island section. Around the bird bath needs some of that vine pruned back, but we have the hellebores coming up. We have pink ones, purple ones, and the white ones. Beautiful. And now that the pathway's been in a few years, it's starting to settle and getting all wonky. So I do have plans to come in here and reset that, get some fresh sand base in here, level off all the walking stones, straighten up all the edging, and then get that white marble all clean again. But I'm not going to be mulching out here in the island garden. I'm not going to be buying fresh mulch for this garden just yet because I want to bring in more compost. That wind is howling. I hope you can hear me. Before I put wood chips in this garden, I want to bring in more compost and add some more nutrition to the soil. And then maybe next year I can add wood chip mulch and seal that all in. But it's nice to see some spring blooms out here, and the daffodils are going to bloom for a while since they all get different amounts of sun. So we have some over there in full bloom, and we have some that are just starting to come into bloom. And out front by the farm stand, they're all blooming. Hump Pup, I don't like that wind either. Not much to see on the back side of the island here, except the daylilies are starting to come up. Hopefully the deer don't find them this year and we can get them nice and big. But more daffodils blooming on the back side here. Yellow is a really important color here this early in the spring. Not much to speak about in the food forest right now. There are a lot of berries in there that are getting established, and they're going to be pretty good here in a few years. It would definitely be beneficial to go in there and prune them and get them all straightened up in the line that I want them. But we have a little bonfire peach tree here that's looking pretty good, adding on new growth. We have the nectarine tree up on the corner, which is really big right now. I probably should prune that back, but I'm going to wait until after it blooms. And we also have water piped out here to the food forest on tap. Now I can keep a little basin of water out here for the ducks whenever they get too far away from the pond. I'm going to get this poplar bed all cleaned up, and then we're going to be bringing the black mulch all the way up here so we have it going all the way down the driveway line here. Right around all the lilies, the hostas, the Shasta daisies. Coming all the way down here to the end of the line with a sedum into the red maple garden. I'm probably going to do red mulch in here if I have the time. I don't think I really want to do black underneath the red maple. I think it would look better red. And that's saying something because I typically don't like dyed mulch, but you just can't beat the contrast in color. Another upcoming big project here is the pergola garden cleanup. We got to get all the vines pruned back for all the new growth coming in. I need to straighten out the brick edging on this one as well, and then we need to get fresh mulch in here. Prune back a lot of the perennials and cut back some of these sunflowers that are still out. There's some other perennials to prune back like these Shasta daisies, and then we already have some daffodils and hyacinths coming up over here. These are my second favorite daffodils. Hump Up, with my favorite hyacinth peeking out. Beautiful. White and purple, can't beat that combination. Hump Pup. And that thunder keeps rolling, but I think it's rolling north. Oh, and that bird is struggling today. She getting thrown around. I hope her kids don't get seasick. Now real quick, we're gonna stop in here and check on the little baby peepers. I can't not take a look at these guys. Hey little ones. Love having babies here in the homestead. If you want to follow along with any of the animals, make sure to check out my homestead channel, Whitt Acres Homestead. Alright little peepers, stay warm. Hump Pup. So spring is just getting started out here, and so am I. I have some of the gardens mulched, and spring has some of the flowers blooming. And the front garden has a beautiful line of daffodils. Hump Pup, it looks like we beat the storm. Get a drink, buddy. No, I don't think the shabunkins are in there anymore. It was a rougher winter than it was before. Bud, we're going to be doing a full pond remodel here. I actually got a few things I want to decorate that with, but that's not going to be until it warms up, because I am frost tender. But that wind is picking up. So that's going to be all for this one. If you want to keep following along with everything here at Whitt Acres and see the gardens come together this growing season, make sure to subscribe down below. Hit that like button before you leave, and you can see me and Echo on the next one. Thanks for watching. Good boy.